Hi everyone, Mickey here. I've been getting a lot of emails and questions on how I made these ruffled edges on my butterflies. And the inspiration actually came from my little girl, Lily, her swimsuit. And she has fabric that's been gathered and in the shape of a butterfly, and that's what gave me the inspiration to do this. But instead of using fabric, I used cardstock. You know, we all have a lot of scraps left over, and I'd rather use something like that than fabric or ribbon. And there's some really cool features with using cardstock and pattern paper that can give you a different look than using fabric and stuff like that. As I started playing around with this, I thought, what else can I do with this? And I came up with these flowers and these leaves. I absolutely love these leaves. And I love that it has the stitch down here and also the very distressed look. It's very 3D. Hopefully you can see that. And they're really neat. So I'm going to show you quickly, hopefully quickly, how I made these. Okay, the first thing that you're going to need is some cardstock. And I'm going to be making the leaves with this. And this is like a 3.5 by 5.5. You know, you want something that's kind of wide because you're going to actually be cutting out the leaf. But also, when it comes to paper and stuff, you want to make sure that you have good sturdy cardstock and pattern paper like Basic Gray or My Mind's Eye or something like that that's got some good weight to it. Cool thing about pattern paper is when you make flowers and stuff like that, you get to see both sides of it, and it's really neat. But the first thing I need to do is use this crimper so that I can loosen up the fibers in the paper. So if you don't have a crimper, you can probably just wet it and loosen up the fibers that way. But I run it through my crimper a couple of times, and then I take water and I wet it twice on each side. I don't want to saturate it. I just kind of want to get a little wet so that it's a little more pliable and I can work with it. Then I do a whole bunch of these and I kind of set them off to the side to let them dry a little bit. And I already have one here that's it's still damp, but it's workable. Okay, so it's kind of loosened up. And then from here, what I do is I go to the sewing machine. Okay, a couple of tips about the sewing machine. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a straight stitch with this, and I also want to have it on the longest stitching, the longest stitch that your machine will do. Mine goes up to a number 4. And also my top thread is a different color than my bottom thread, and that will help me to identify my bobbin thread so that I can, that's the thread that I'm going to be pulling together. Now if you've sewn before, this is going to be really easy for you. It's simply just gathering just like you would on a skirt or a blouse. But anyway, what I do for the leaf is I just go straight down the middle, and I make sure that I leave a long enough tail on here so that I have something to work with. Okay, so the next thing that I do is I take that bottom bobbin thread, which is the white thread, and I hold it, try to twist it around and hold it tight, and then I start moving the cardstock with my thumb. So here you go, I'm holding that white bobbin thread still, and I'm just working with my thumb, pulling that cardstock down so that I get my ruffles in it. And then I flip it over and I do the same thing on the opposite side. And that way I'm not pulling too hard and I'm not going to rip my paper and stuff. And again, you don't want your paper too wet. If it's too wet, the cardstock's going to rip. Now on the ends of it, sometimes the cardstock kind of lays flat, and what I do is I tie it off, and right here's a good example. I pull it and I really gather it up the ends, and then I just tie it. I don't even tie it in a knot. I just tie it one time, and after I get it tied, I lay it out. I mess around with the ruffles, trying to get it, you know, a real nice ruffle look in it, and then I set it off to the side to dry. Okay, and now I've got one here that's already dried, and I'm gonna cut off the ends of the string there. You know, now that it's dry, I can cut those off. You wouldn't be able to do that if you had fabric. Now the next thing I'm going to do is cut a long stem, and I cut really close to the stitch line. And then I go out and I make an oval, and I just cut through all the layers of gathers and go up to a point. Okay, and then I go on the opposite side and I cut again. Now you could do all kinds of shapes leaves. You can do slender leaves, fat leaves, skinny leaves, and the cool thing about this too is, you know, the thread there. One side is white and the other side is green, and that's pretty cool. Now here are some other leaves that I created. You can see the different shapes there. And here's one where the end just kind of cut off on the end, and I kind of like that because it's like that in nature. Now this one, it was a white cardstock, and after I did the whole process, I sprayed it with glimmer mist, and on the inside of it, the leaves, it's white, and I really like that look because then you can get a really variegated look. Okay, to start the flower, I have some pattern paper here. This one happens to have some glitter in it, which is really cool, and the back side of it is white, and I could spray that with glimmer mist. Okay, I try not to go any larger than 1 inch in width, and the length of this is 12 inches long. I'll do the same process. I will put it through the crimper, I'll wet it, then I'll stitch it and start my new flower. I have one right here, and see on the back side of this I sprayed it with glimmer mist. And once I have it all gathered, the next step that I do is I take and I fold this up. Now another thing is when you are stitching this on the sewing machine, I don't go straight down the middle. I kind of go off to the side a little bit so that when I fold it over, I can see a little bit of the edge of the pattern paper so that I can see both sides of this paper. And then I just kind of scrunch it up like this. And see, I cut the ends off and it's not unraveling at all, and that's what's so neat. You wouldn't be able to do this with ribbon or with fabric, so that's really cool. And as you see, it's already starting to form itself into a circular shape. The next thing I do is I punch a hole with or punch a circle with my circle punch, and this one is 1 inch and a quarter. Okay, and then I take some Beacon's adhesive. This is the fabric tack glue, and I really like this because it dries really well. So I just put a bunch of this on the circle, and I just set it down while I take my paper here for my flower, and I start in the center, and I make a centerpiece here, kind of push it under, and then with the other I go underneath, and I keep going around and around until I form a flower. Let's see if I can get this just a little bit tighter. Okay. And then once I've got it the way that I like it, then I could just put it down on my glue right here. And then I just hold it for a few seconds. This is the thing that I like about this Beacon's fabric tack glue, is it really does dry fast. And so I just hold it there, and then to complete it, all I need to do is put in like a brad or gem or something like that. And here's the back side of it. And then I take one of my leaves, and the reason why I cut a long stem on the leaves is so that I have something where I can glue it. I'll take some more of this Beacon's glue and glue it on the back, and then I have a nice flower like that. Okay, here's some other designs that I came up with. This is some pattern paper. It had 2 sides. Just put a real pretty brad in there, and this would be great for a guy's page or something like that. See, that's the back of it. Okay, and the other thing I did too is, while it was still in a dry form and in a straight form before I did any distressing to the strip of paper, I took my deco scissors and I cut the side of it, and to give it a little more dimension to the flower. Okay, here's some more flowers that I made with some more glitter paper, which I think it turned out really nice. Here's another one. This was just some pattern paper. Didn't have anything on the back side, but I put some glimmer mist on the back, and I really like how this one turned out. All I gotta do is add some kind of a brad or something to the center. And here's one that's with that same glitter paper. It's a little bit bigger. This is about 1 inch paper, and that one really turned out nice. I really like that one. All I gotta do is put something in the center. So anyway, this is how I made these, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and come up with some of your own ideas. I've thought about doing rainbows and clouds and all kinds of things with these gathered pieces of cardstock and pattern paper. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Bye.